Okay, welcome viewers, welcome America, welcome Justin Bieber. Today we are going to do a review of how to graph quadratic equations in vertex form. What did I say? Vertex form is number 1, intercept form is number 2, and standard form is number 3, and I will be attaching this worksheet. Jamie, do you want to say anything to Justin Bieber or America or anything
Justin
from
Bieber, I'm
SCA?
counting down the days to see you. I'll be there. Will
So
you?
exciting. I'm pretty sure I'll be there because I haven't got my ticket yet.
He said
but
he was sending them.
I'm pretty sure he's going to send it. I'll get it at some point.
Yeah, so SCA
Yeah.
doesn't have anything yet. Oh wait, come to the cultural festival.
We'll get back to you on the
March
date.
24th. It'll be really fun.
Okay. There's bingo on Friday night.
I know, I
ASL's
was
doing
supposed
bingo.
to do it.
Yeah. Ms. Coy asked me to do it. We'll see. Okay. So yeah, it's Friday night. So number 1. So number 1 is in vertex form, and when it's in vertex form, you can just find the vertex like that. So we've got, it's at -2, 6. So if you remember from unit 1, when we were doing transformations, this is the horizontal shift inside the function, and this is the vertical shift on the outside. So if you were to put a -2 in here, that would make this 0, right? So the shift is at -2 and then -6. And that's where the vertex is. So the original parent function has a vertex at 0, 0, and this function has a vertex at -2, -6. Once you have the vertex, now you've got, you've got your line of symmetry. We're just going to pick a point on one side and then reflect it over the other and then just draw our line. You really only need 3 points. In Algebra 1, they like you to have 5 points just to make sure you don't make an error. But here we can only, we can do whatever we want because we're pre-cal. We do what we want. So, and you don't have to write this out, but this is essentially what we're doing. So if I put in, what's a nice number that I could put in?
2.
We could do 2. Well, let's do 0. Because 0 plus 2 is 2, and then squared is 4. So this would be 4 and then -6. Are we good with that? If I put in a 0 here, I'm going to get 0 plus 2. That's 2 squared, which is 4, plus or -6. I can't speak today. 4 minus 6, -2. When x is 0, y is -2. 0 minus 2. That's really all you need. Because if I reflect this point, okay, so this is 2 over, so I'm going to go 2 over from the other direction and plot a point, and then I'm done. And if you want, you can plot one more point. Like if I were to put in like -1, -1 plus 2 is 1 squared. That's nice. That would be -5. -1, -5. And that point just kind of verifies that we're in the right place here, and I could also reflect that point. And then you just draw your curve. That's it. That's it for vertex form. Any questions on that? Do you guys remember that?
Yes.
You do? From Algebra 1 or Algebra 2?
1.
Algebra 1. Do you remember it from Algebra 2?
Sure.
Nobody remembers anything from Algebra 2. Thanks, COVID. Okay. Can I go to number 2? Or are we still looking at this?
We'll see.
All right, number 2 is an intercept form. The reason we call it intercept form is because we can immediately see what the intercepts are. The intercepts are at -2 and 4. Those are the values. If I were to plug in a -2 here, -2 plus 2 makes this parentheses equal to 0. 0 times, doesn't even matter what this is, 0 times anything is 0. So when I plug in -2 into this function for x, I get 0 for y, which makes it an x intercept. Are we good with that? So I'm going to plot that. The other x-intercept is at 4, because if I plug in 4 into this factor right here, that makes this factor 0. 0 times, doesn't even matter what this is, because 0 times whatever is going to be 0. So the other intercept is at, or the x-intercept is at 4, 0. Now, to find your line of symmetry, really all we really need to do to find the vertex is average these two numbers. So we're just going to take these values and make p plus q divided by 2. Just add them up. I mean, that's how we average any numbers. If you're given two numbers and you're asked to find the average, the number in the middle of them, you add them up and divide by how many there are. So in this case, there are two numbers. We add them up and divide by 2. So the x-coordinate of the vertex is going to be at -2 plus 4 divided by 2, which is 2 over 2, that's 1. So the x-coordinate is 1. So if I want to, I can just go ahead and draw a dotted line here. Now, if the x-coordinate is 1, what's the y-coordinate? Well, just like the previous problem, we're going to plug in x, 1 for x, and see what we get for y. So this is y of 1 equals, that's going to be 3. What am I plugging in? 1, -3. Somebody's checking my work. Looks like I'm getting 9.
Yeah.
Okay, so when x is 1, y is 9. I'm going to do that in a different color so we can see it. 1, 9. And that makes sense because the graph of this quadratic is the parabola is opening down. Because if I draw it, I'm about to draw it, it's going to go this direction, which makes sense because the leading coefficient is a negative. And the negatives open down, the positives open up. Remember that? And if you want to pick another point, you can. We could plug in 0. If you plug in 0, you get 8. But this is really all you need. That's a terrible graph. Let me try that again. That's also a terrible graph.
We get the idea.
I think we get it.
Wait, how do you get that movement at the top?
We average the two intercepts because it has to be right directly in the center. The vertex has to be on this line, the center line.
Oh, gotcha.
So we averaged the -2 and the 4. So you add the -2 and the 4, divide by 2, and you get 1. So we know the x-coordinate is 1 of the vertex. So it's 1, whatever y is. So we plug in 1 and then see what we get for y.
Gotcha.
And it's at 1, 9.
Is it gonna get any harder than this? I always have to ask
I asked
that.
that
I'm
too.
sorry.
I mean, not today, because this is review of Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. Not
You
today.
gotta stop telling us it's gonna be easy.
I never, I just,
Yes, you did.
oh my God.
You said this is gonna be so much better than trig, and yes, it is right now. But you're saying it's gonna get harder.
I mean,
You're
do you
building
like,
trust issues?
I'm giving you trust issues. Do you remember synthetic division?
Oh my god, I love.
Do you guys know how to do long division with numbers?
No,
Yes.
wait,
Absolutely
hold on,
not.
hold on. I lied.
We're gonna have to review that. You know, we have 3 hours today. We
Oh.
should review how to do long division with numbers.
No, I think we were cutting it off at like the hour and a half.
We could just pull out a 4th grade
I think you said-
division
I'd
worksheet.
rather do a
Do that.
multiplication one.
Okay, I got 2 people that remember how to do long division. All right, so
I said
last
yes.
problem.
I don't remember synthetic, but I remember ones.
Okay.
Synthetic was fun, right? Isn't synthetic?
Yes, synthetic is fun, America.
I don't know if I'm
Lies.
Let's do the last problem. The last problem, are you guys ready?
Yes. I'm
Last
sorry.
problem is in standard form. So we can't immediately identify the x-intercepts or the vertex. So we're gonna have to use -b over 2a, and you have to memorize that formula. The x-coordinate of the vertex is -b over 2a, and b, and it's in the form, standard form is ax, oh my gosh, what am I doing? ax squared plus bx plus c. So B is the coefficient for x, and A is the coefficient for x squared. In this problem, there's no x. So when I plug in these values, I'm going to get -0 over 2 times A, in this case is -3. But it doesn't matter because 0 over whatever that number is, in this case it's -6, we're just going to get 0. So the x-coordinate of the vertex is 0. And then once we have the x-coordinate, we just plug it in. Yeah, so it's -3 times 0 squared plus 8, so that's at 0, 8. Once we have the vertex 0, 8, we just do the same steps with the XY chart that we did with the other problems. Just pick a value on, and you can choose whichever side you want. Just pick a nice number that you want to plug in. Like 1, if you plug in 1, you get 5. If you plug in 2, you get -4. I already have those done. So 1, 5. I would probably just stop there because I'd reflect it and then be done. But if you want to plug in 2, if you want to check one more, it's not a bad idea because then you can make sure that you have the correct graph and it's going the right way. And reflect it. And then you draw your graph, you're done. That's standard form. First problem was vertex form. Second problem was intercept form. And the third problem is standard form. Yep.
Can you re-explain the beginning of this problem?
So to find the vertex for a problem, for an equation that's in standard form, you have to use this formula, x equals -b over 2a. You have to use the coefficient for x. In this case, we have 0 x's. And then we have to use the coefficient for x squared, which is a. In this case, our a is -3. So we plugged into this formula -0 over 2 times -3. And so it just ends up being 0. So the x coordinate for the vertex is 0. And then we plug in 0 to see what we get for the y coordinate. Any other questions? All right, good. Good question, good question. All right, that's all.